The scent of Thanksgiving is a ghost that haunts me. Not the warm, comforting aroma of roasting turkey and pumpkin pie that fills other homes, but the phantom sting of sweat and fear, the metallic tang of a belt buckle, and the suffocating smell of simmering resentment. For 20 years, I carried that ghost inside me. They called me Elizabeth, but in that house, I was just the help. Until I decided to set the table for a very different kind of feast. My brother, Kyle, was the sun around which our family orbited. Handsome, charming in a lazy way, and perpetually entitled, he was excused from all chores. I, on the other hand, was the domestic satellite, expected to orbit him. That particular Thanksgiving, I was 17. The Macy's parade was a distant rumor on the TV in the other room as I juggled basting the turkey, peeling a mountain of potatoes, and ensuring the silverware was polished. "Liz, bring me a soda," Kyle called from the living room, not bothering to look up from his video game. "Get it yourself, Kyle." "I'm elbows deep in turkey giblets," I replied, my voice tight. A moment of silence, then the heavy tread of my father. "Elizabeth. Your brother asked for a drink. Don't be selfish. It's a day of family." The word family in his mouth always sounded like a command, a chain. Why can't he get it? He's perfectly capable. That was the spark. My father's face, already flushed from pre-dinner whiskey, darkened to a terrifying purple. "In this house, we take care of each other. You will serve your brother. That is your role. Now, apologize and get him his drink." Something in me, something that had been coiling and growing in the dark for years, finally snapped. "No," I said, my voice quieter than I expected, but solid as stone. "I won't. I'm not his maid." What followed was a blur of rage. He didn't use his hand. He unbuckled the thick, worn leather belt he always wore. My mother turned away, pretending to arrange napkins. Kyle smirked. The first crack was a shock of pure, white-hot pain. The second, third, and countless others that followed merged into a storm of agony. He whipped me until I was on the floor, curled into a ball, my back and legs on fire. He only stopped when he was out of breath. "Now," he panted, buckling his belt again. "Get your brother his drink." I did it. I limped to the kitchen, my tears mixing with the blood seeping through my jeans, and I brought Kyle his soda. He took it without a word. That was the moment I died inside. And from those ashes, a new, harder Elizabeth was born. I left the next year for college, using scholarships and back-breaking work to pay my way. I never took a dime from them. I severed contact almost completely, sending only an obligatory Christmas card so they wouldn't report me missing. I became a ghost to them, and they were ghosts to me, phantom limbs that sometimes ached with a pain that wasn't really there anymore. I built a life. A good one. I became a successful corporate strategist, known for my cold, ruthless efficiency in dismantling opposition and negotiating mergers. I learned to channel all that pain, all that fury, into a weapon of focus and ambition. I married a kind man who knew only fragments of my past and loved me fiercely regardless. We were happy. Then, the email arrived. From my mother. "Elizabeth. Your father is retiring. We are selling the house. We would like to have one last family Thanksgiving in the old home. Kyle will be here with his wife and children. It would mean so much to us. Please come. Love, Mom." The ghost of that long-ago Thanksgiving smell invaded my senses. The pain in my long-healed scars tingled. I showed it to my husband, Mark. His face filled with protective anger. "You're not going." I stared at the screen, a slow, cold smile spreading across my face. "Oh, yes," I whispered. "I am. I'm going to give them a Thanksgiving they'll never forget." The plan was a year in the making. It required patience, resources, and a deep, intimate knowledge of their weaknesses. My father's pride. My mother's complicit silence. Kyle's staggering laziness and entitlement. I discovered, through a private investigator, that Kyle had followed in our father's footsteps, in the most pathetic way possible. He worked a mid-level management job at a small manufacturing firm, a job our father had secured for him. He was also drowning in debt, living far beyond his means, and had recently taken a significant loan from our parents' retirement savings to avoid foreclosure on his McMansion. My father, the proud provider, was secretly strained, needing to sell the family home to truly fund his retirement. They had given their golden boy everything, and he had repaid them by becoming an anchor. Thanksgiving Day arrived. I pulled up to the old house in a rental car, dressed in a simple, elegant cashmere sweater and tailored slacks. I looked successful. I looked untouchable. I carried a single, expensive bottle of wine. The house was smaller than I remembered. Shabbier. My father, older and softer, opened the door. His eyes widened slightly, taking me in. "Elizabeth. You came." "I said I would," I replied, my voice neutral. My mother fluttered nervously, offering a cheek for a kiss that never landed. She looked tired. Kyle was in the living room, now with a paunch and a receding hairline. He barely glanced up from his phone. "Hey, Liz." "Mom, when's dinner?" "The kids are starving." His wife, a perpetually stressed-looking woman named Brenda, was in the kitchen, already doing what I used to do. She threw me a look of exhausted solidarity. The cycle was repeating. I offered to help Brenda, not as a servant, but as a fellow prisoner liberating herself. We made polite conversation. I poured the wine I brought, making sure everyone had a glass, especially my father and Kyle. During dinner, the performance began. "So, Kyle," I said, sipping my water. "How's work? Still at Dad's old place?" He grunted, his mouth full. "Yeah. It's fine. Budgets are tight." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, feigning sympathy. "It must be so stressful, especially with the house payment. I heard the market in your neighborhood took a dive." Kyle froze. My father's head snapped up. "How did you know about that?" he asked sharply. I gave a light, airy wave. "Oh, you know, real estate is a hobby of mine. It's public record that your house was in pre-foreclosure a few months back. I'm so glad you managed to sort it out." I turned my gaze to my father. "That was you who sorted it, wasn't it, Dad? Always the provider." The air grew thick. My mother's knife screeched against her plate. "It was a family matter," my father said, his voice a low warning. "Of course," I said sweetly. "Family helps each other. Like you always said." I let the phrase hang in the air, heavy with the memory of his belt. I turned the conversation to my father's retirement. "So, the sale of this house will set you up comfortably? It's a valuable plot." He puffed out his chest. "We've had excellent offers." "I'm sure you have," I said. "But the market is tricky. I actually know the development company that's most interested in this street. They're a client of mine." This was a lie, but a believable one given my job. I could put in a good word, make sure you get every penny you're owed. For the first time in my life, I saw a flicker of need in my father's eyes. Not love, not pride in me, but avarice. "That would be generous, Elizabeth." "Family," I said again, with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. After dessert, as Brenda and my mother cleared the plates, Kyle lumbered toward the living room. "Good grub, Mom. I'm gonna go watch the game." I saw my opening. The final, perfect twist of the knife. "Oh, Kyle, before you go," I said, reaching into my bag. I pulled out a small, tastefully wrapped gift box. "I brought you something. A late birthday present." He looked surprised, then pleased, taking the box. It was a heavy, high-end bottle of scotch. His eyes lit up. "Wow. Thanks, Liz. It's from a very exclusive distillery," I said. "Extremely rare. You should open it now, enjoy a glass with Dad." My father, ever eager for a free luxury, nodded enthusiastically. Let's have a taste, son. As Kyle fumbled with the packaging, I turned to my mother. Mom, could you get some glasses? The good ones. It was a sublime piece of psychological warfare. I, the former servant, had just commanded my mother to serve me. And she did it. She hurried to the cabinet. Kyle poured 3 generous glasses. He and my father raised theirs. To family, my father said, his eyes on the expensive liquor. To family, I echoed softly. They drank. It was a long, satisfying swallow. I set my own full glass down on the table. There's just one thing I should mention about that scotch, I said, my voice dropping to a conversational, almost friendly tone. They looked at me. It's not actually a gift from me. It's a gift from Lion's Share Development. My client. My father's eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? Well, I said, leaning back in my chair, my posture one of pure, cold victory. When I heard you were selling, I had my team look into it. Lion's Share is the company that owns all the debt on Kyle's house. And the loan he took from you? It was secured against this house. Which means, technically, they own a significant interest in this property, too. The color drained from my father's face. Kyle looked confused. See, I continued, my voice like ice, Lion's Share is a subsidiary of my firm. We've been buying up debt in this neighborhood for 2 years. We own your golden boy, Kyle. And now, we own your retirement. I stood up, looking down at them. The fury and fear on my father's face was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. You taught me that family serves each other, Dad. You were right. Today, I served you. I served you a full-course meal of consequences. I walked to the door, picking up my purse. I turned back for one last look at the tableau of shattered entitlement. The offer we're making on this house is final. It's exactly enough to cover the debts Kyle has so generously accrued with your help. You'll walk away with nothing. You can spend your retirement living with him. I'm sure he'll be happy to have you serve him. My mother was crying silently. Kyle was sputtering, finally understanding his kingdom of laziness had collapsed. My father just stared, a broken, bitter old man whose legacy was a worthless son and a daughter who had finally, gloriously, whipped him back with the cold, unbreakable leather of success. Happy Thanksgiving, I said, and I closed the door quietly behind me. I walked to my rental car, the crisp autumn air filling my lungs, clean and free of the ghosts of the past. The scars on my back didn't tingle anymore. They were just scars. I had taken their day of forced gratitude and turned it into my day of liberation. The revenge was complete, and it was served not cold, but at precisely the right temperature. And for the first time in my life, I truly understood what it meant to be thankful.